In a small village, there was a house that stood out from the rest. It was abandoned and dilapidated, with broken windows and overgrown weeds. The locals whispered of a specter that lived inside. Said to have an insatiable hunger for children, the house was avoided at all costs, especially at night. As the sun set, the house became even more ominous, casting a long shadow over the village. The specter was rumored to come out at night, searching for its next victim. Its presence alone was enough to make even the bravest of souls tremble with fear. Despite the warnings, some children couldn't resist the temptation to peek inside the house's broken windows. They claimed to have seen a ghostly figure lurking in the shadows, its eyes glowing with a hunger for flesh. The haunted house remained a mystery, shrouded in darkness and fear. One child in particular was drawn to the haunted house's mystery. Despite the warnings of the locals, the child was determined to see what lay inside. As night fell, the child crept closer to the house, heart racing with excitement and fear. The child's footsteps echoed loudly in the silent night, each step bringing the haunted house closer. The child could hear strange noises coming from inside, but was too curious to turn back. The child reached the park adjacent to the house and saw the specter for the first time. The specter was horrifying, with pale skin, sunken eyes, and jagged teeth. Its long, bony fingers reached out towards the child, beckoning it closer. But the child stood frozen in fear. Unable to move or scream, the specter began to move, and the chase was on. The child ran as fast as possible, heart pounding in the chest. The specter was close behind, its ghostly presence filling the air with a cold chill. The child could hear its ragged breathing and feel its icy breath on the neck. The child weaved through the park's trees and bushes, trying to lose the specter, but the specter was too fast and too determined. It seemed to know the park like the back of its hand, anticipating the child's every move. Finally, the specter caught up with the child and dragged it back towards the haunted house. The child struggled and screamed, but it was no use. The specter had claimed its prey, and the child was never seen again. The haunted house remained a place of terror, and the specter's hunger continued to haunt the village. The child's disappearance was discovered the next morning, and the village was thrown into chaos. The villagers searched high and low for the missing child, but to no avail. Some began to whisper that the specter had claimed another victim. Days turned into weeks, and the child was still missing. The villagers mourned its loss, but also feared for their own safety. They knew that the specter was still out there, and that it could strike again at any moment. Finally, a group of brave villagers decided to investigate the haunted house themselves. They found nothing out of the ordinary, but the specter's presence could still be felt. It was clear that the child had fallen prey to the ghostly hunger of the specter, and that it would not be the last victim. The child's family was devastated by the loss, and the village was forever changed. Parents kept their children close, and the haunted house was avoided at all costs. The specter's hunger had claimed an innocent life, and the village would never forget. The child's disappearance also had a profound effect on the village's psyche. Fear and paranoia became the norm, and the villagers struggled to come to terms with the specter's existence. Some even began to question their own beliefs in the supernatural. Years passed, and the child's disappearance became a distant memory, but the haunted house remained, a reminder of the specter's hunger and the tragedy that had befallen the village. The specter still lurked within, waiting for its next victim, and the villagers lived in fear of the ghostly hunger that could strike at any moment. The haunted house and the specter's hunger continued to be a source of fear and fascination for the villagers. Some still dared to venture near the house, but most avoided it like the plague. The specter's power over the village remained strong, but the child's tragic fate was not in vain. It served as a warning to others of the dangers of the haunted house and the specter's hunger. Parents warned their children to stay away, and the village came together to try and find a way to rid themselves of the specter's curse, and so the haunted house remained, a symbol of the village's past and a reminder of the specter's hunger. But the villagers refused to let fear control them. They would never forget the child who had been taken by the specter, but they would also never give up hope that one day they would be free from its curse.